What about the whole foreclosure problem? And the Democrats are squawking. They're going to do something with their president. They're going to get a bailout package together. What's your position on the foreclosure crisis, they're calling it?
With regards to homeowners who are able to meet the original terms of their mortgage, but now find with the reset of their mortgage that they can't meet the new terms, that we ought to have the FHA expand its capacity to give guarantees to these individual loans so that people can stay in their homes. That's what you do for people who can meet the original terms. For people that are way out of line and can't possibly meet their obligations, I don't want government to step in to bail them out. I also don't want government to bail out investors, people who bought these mortgages. Sophisticated investors should not get bailed out by the government.
How much interference do you think is possible by a president when we tip into a recession? I mean, part of this is the natural business cycle, and part of this just has to play out normally, does it not?
Yeah, a president can do a lot of harm, as Jimmy Carter showed. You can make very bad mistakes which cause the economy to go into a tailspin for a long, long time. Jimmy Carter did that, and so you can see the impact of what a president does when it doesn't go well. On the positive side, a president could also put in place policies that have a big impact. And you go back to John F. Kennedy lowered tax rates on the highest income Americans, and that led to a major increase in investment in this country and growth. Ronald Reagan did the same thing. He lowered tax rates even further, and that led to growth.
Do the deficits bother you?
I'm not one of those who says I'm comfortable with deficits. I do want to stop the borrowing of more money. I want to stop spending more than we take in. We've got to reform our entitlements if we're going to finally stop the out-of-control borrowing.
Because the lower tax rates is supposed to bring in more revenue as people use that tax money to spend and invest. But it seems no matter how much revenue comes in, the expenditures exceed revenues by $200, $300 billion a year. Every year. It doesn't ever seem to change.
Yeah, and that's something which can't go on. We find ourselves becoming a debtor nation, in some cases to nations that will use that position of strength potentially against us. We're going to have to stop spending more than we take in, and in particular, we're going to have to reform some of our favorite programs, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, always honoring our promises to our seniors, but making sure that we make promises to younger people that we know we can afford and that we're going to keep.
How are you going to stop the McCain train? I took a look at the latest polls. They may be a couple of weeks old. Of the 10 largest states voting on Tuesday, didn't have you ahead in any of them.
I'm ahead in a number of states, and frankly, talk radio is coming to my aid. I think there are a lot of people that are looking down the barrel of a McCain nomination and saying this would not be good for the Republican Party, and that's given me the kind of boost that I need. And a lot of these states, by the way, have portioned their delegates. So if I do well, I get some delegates there. Look at California, 54 districts. I will win in some of those districts. McCain will win in some of them. A two-man race, I think people in this party are going to choose the conservative every time.
Well, I mean, there's clear distinctions between you and him on immigration, which, be assured, this is by far the number one issue in Southern California among the Republican primary voters. Big difference between you and him on tax cuts. What is this global warming plan that he's got with Joe Lieberman? What is that about, and where do you stand on it? Pet topic of ours. Yeah.
Well, he's just not familiar with how industry and business works, because his idea is this: to charge everybody an extra 50 cents a gallon for gasoline in this country and increase the utility rates by about 20%. And what he doesn't recognize is that if you do that in this country and you allow the Chinese and Brazilians and people from India not to pay that burden, then heavy energy intensive industries are going to leave here and go there. And we're going to end up with just as much pollution, if not more, and a big burden on American consumers.
And what does he want to do with all that money that's being collected?
It's a cap and trade program, so it goes to the companies that are able to reduce their emissions. So when the government doesn't get it, it goes to corporate America. There's some winners and there's some losers, but the losers are the American consumer. The right way to solve global warming issues is to work with other nations and have a global program that everybody participates in. But a U.S.-only program, which just puts the burden on us, is something which would be harmful to our consumers, harmful to our economy. The Energy Information Agency said it would cost us 300,000 jobs in this country. It is simply not consistent with somebody who ought to be president, in my view.
Clearly, one of his strengths, though, is his military hero image. And I guess there's a lot of people looking at you and saying, well, how are you going to handle Al-Qaeda, terrorism, the war, coming from the corporate world and governing Massachusetts for 4 years? How can that be a strength of yours?
We've had great presidents who've come from as governors and have not been senators that were war heroes. You think of Ronald Reagan, and I know Ronald Reagan Reagan, but Ronald Reagan won the Cold War, did something which people thought was impossible. You go back over the history of this nation, and what people look for in the commander-in-chief and the president is someone who has the temperament and the wisdom, the judgment, the intelligence, the capacity to make difficult decisions to allow that president to lead the nation. We don't elect people to take over for the military. We don't elect a general-in-chief that's going to soldier General Petraeus and tell him what to do. You instead elect somebody who can listen to the different perspectives of different generals and different leaders and make wise decisions from the standpoint not of a military person, but from the standpoint of an American citizen who knows how to make tough decisions and get the job done.
Governor Romney, thanks for coming on with us.
Thank you, gentlemen. Good to be with you tonight.
All right, we'll talk with you again soon. Governor Mitt Romney running on Tuesday against McCain in the Republican primary. John and Ken, KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.